Welcome, everyone. Usually I have to shout to make everyone be quiet. Thank you for hushing. So welcome to the Cali Writers House. I'm Julia Block and couldn't be more thrilled to be introducing tonight's reading. If you're new to the Writers House, please be sure to sign our guest book out in the vestibule and grab a calendar of upcoming events. They are all free and open to you. If you are returning to the Cali Writers House, welcome back. After the reading tonight, we will be adjourning to the dining room for a reception, and we also have several books for sale by our two poets, so please be sure to check those out after we read. Tonight we're going to be hearing from Philip Good and Bernadette Mayer. I'm going to introduce Phil first. In one of the first poems in his book, Untitled Writings from a Member of the Blank Generation, Philip Good writes, "There's no power in poetry, is there?" This combination of declaration and reversal marks the ongoing openness of Good's work, which is part series of aphorisms, part gossip, part propositions, part political interventions. The book exposes contemporary tragedies of American capitalism at the same time that it explores the social bonds of language. In Untitled number 66, Good writes, "Sometimes we can't tell the difference between the very rich and the homeless. Sometimes almost anybody wants to sleep on a park bench to warm up in the sunshine. We are free to exercise our consequence of being alive here right now under the same old layers of deception." Elsewhere, Good asks of us, what's important is not to care, or is it to care so much it hurts? This work works through these two ends of a long spectrum of what it means to keep asking the questions themselves. Philip Good is a graduate of the School of Visual Arts. He co-edited the last of the mimeograph poetry magazines, Blue Smoke, and he's given poetry readings all across America and abroad. He now lives in a former shtetl in upstate New York. Please help me welcome Philip Good to the Cali Writers House.
Thank you. So, before I begin, Bernadette and myself would like to dedicate this reading to her sister, Rosemary, who passed away this Saturday. Sorry. So, living with Bernadette, who's supposedly wrote a whole book in one day. I'm going to start with a few of these more recent poems, which are, my constraint is one poem a month. April. Salt is the spice of life. She had a pocket full of sea salt. Conversations were monitored. In dreams where deer became exotic donkeys. Chives are the first herb of spring. Horseradish is best served with oysters. A little late snow can hurt the soul, but bouncing back before the Easter bunny arrives sure beats hunting for plastic eggs. When tree branches still look dead and a bird gets caught in the wood stove, it's time to think about green fire-breathing dragons and little orange lizards. Cult of firearms incites disobedience. Get perspective on the highest holiday. Remember, there's more ocean water than garden soil to spoil. Did the daffodils appear in April? They might need more seasoning. In May, two bluebirds looked happy. My birthdays fall on Mother's Day, not unlikely as later sunsets cause more thoughts by the bird feeder. It's time to think about love and all those beautiful people beating themselves up over philosophy and economics. So now we have spiders that jump, award-winning gymnastic style. And in Roswell, New Mexico, visitors from space play baseball. In June, a memory. In the storefront window, how beautiful the thread looks. In June, we had Father's Day. Not all of us have fathers or mothers for that matter. And yes, some men do know how to sew. I'll stop at June. So it will be the whole year starting from April. And, I did go to art school to study writing, it's visual arts. And the poem a month, I'm illustrating them. So, and it will be really bad illustrations. And that's part of the reasoning behind this book, Untitled Writings, is from looking at art, and they never title them. And we always have to title our poems. And I'm really good at titling my poems. So I decided, well, let's take a break from that. And, and I've been writing these skinny, this is how they look. These are skinny. But here they're more dense and kind of sometimes look like prose. So I'll start with number one. And the characters in here are actually, I don't know if you, Michael Ruby and Peter Baker. It's not Michael Gizzy and Peter Gizzy, which some people have thought. We used to say, wait a minute, what? The day started with wait a minute, what? And ended with daisy, daisy, daisy. You know what I mean if you laughed. It's always jokes with you. The musician poet said, with venom, but daisy, 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 I know exactly what you mean. How many poets does it take to screw in a light bulb? It doesn't matter as long as there's a paper published about it. Bernadette said she came up with a title for a new paper, Poetry and Penis Size. Does either matter? Michael said that was mean, but everyone laughed. And as Peter says, it doesn't matter because Bernadette said it. Old-fashioned phones always ring during thunderstorms. Doesn't that make for interesting copy? It's not because we didn't attend for the guilt, G-I-L-T, and all the potential positions of power. It's not because we weren't seeking good times. Hearing the word rhymes and watching the paintings was a bonus. During the recital, inspiration flowed through the veins of the audience, an ocean of intellectual hogwash. It's okay to say that. Bernadette said so. What's important is not to care, or is it to care so much it hurts? What party, that's a good mistake. What part of the body hurts when caring too much? The tear ducts? Don't forget to breathe in and breathe out and pick up your bagged lunch on the way out of the art gallery. They make huge paintings, abstract, impressionistic, some kind of landscape. It carries the sound across the room, above the alarm system, bouncing off the polished floors. How did they get the floors to shine that way? Not found in nature, except near riverbeds, where wet rocks look different than an empty conch shell. Think geometry or conchologist. Wait a minute, what? Language is a funny thing, isn't it? Yeah. So we got back on the road again, headed south across state lines into rainstorms, forgetting the day's exhaustive conversations about how great you are and when will we speak again. Here's my address, my electronic mail inbox. Take a picture, it lasts longer. Sorry, we gotta run. Our waitress is waiting to serve us, smiling as if stoned, saying, awesome. We'll try to bring something home. We'll try not to remember whatever kept us up at night. And I know what I said. I said what I meant, unless it came out wrong. All right. Number 6. Solomon's seal. How many did you heal? More than an amulet to wear around one's neck. Someone had to name all the magical herbs you must have picked. Once walking through a recreation of how the Shakers lived, I eyed a garden with many of the medicines they would give, valerian, passion flower, and hops, to name a few. Why did anyone bother to name the flowers? Is it a possessive thing? Is it a passionate thing? Ask the animals if you can. Some people believe the ability is there. If only you had the right kind of ring or magic book. It's more than imagination if you dare. And sometimes, to our surprise, we'll find a plant that isn't in our vocabulary. We compare the flowers and plants to all the photographs and books. A memory from one year to the next helps us name the weeds on our walks. Some of the tinctures we took allow us to continue to look. Untitled 9. There's the school of no name. It became the school of gossiping and protesting. I'm not interested in the creek. I mean the painted tree. I mean the people painting the tree with colored chalk. What do they say? I mean, what do they hear or taste? What was that you heard? News to me, or I don't know what you're talking about. And what's going to do it for me? A lustrous evening of cavorting beyond my bedtime, moments of endless serendipity. The whole world's my stage and someone forgot to turn on the lights. That can't be right. It's shining bright on this poem and I'm nobody. Who are you? This was before campus security decided to check names and keep an eye out for unruly behavior. But still, we are allowed independent thoughts as long as you're careful for not ruffling too many feathers. Do we really flock together? Last time I looked, some young, I don't care about rock stars, upstart thought he'd take a shot at criticizing the standards of the new avant-garde. Now that's a laugh, don't you think? Oh, but it can happen here because someone said we can't take pills anymore. Any suggestions? Red wine, candlelight? Oh, the school of no name. Where are you now? Relax, it wasn't a dream, but it will be. Does anyone have a favorite number?
32.
Let's see if it's in here. 32.
Using those little pink.
I don't know. It just looks so professional. Number 32. Another announcement miracle energy source is just around the corner. Often surprises don't seem real in writing. Often only hearing events in person can define the present. It took instruments of measurement to explain past and future. You can always count on your fingers to tell what part of the year it is. Was the age of Aquarius really invented by a record producer? Not even astrological ages are ruled by planets, but con artists peddling their cult-like culture. They even tell us when to shop, when to party. But let's not be so fast to keep track of all time or try to recognize all those people in the photographs kept in a dusty shoebox. Did you detect any movement in your surroundings today? Did you find an infinite room of books in your dreams last night? Did you begin to understand about your ancestors yet? Did you bother to remember useful knowledge? Believe this, a myth can be stronger than truth. It's important to remember the world is filled with seawater. This land, though not always fertile, is dependent upon people to not corrupt it. People are being pushed, and they tell me there's another miracle announcement around the corner. Where were your shoes made? The ones that came in that box, now holding the photographs you tried to identify. those shoes that you got on your feet. Couple more. 35. At first glance, quadrangles seem boring next to other configurations in these sounds of weather patterns. I've heard that octagons make the best tables. Imagine living in an octagon house next to a hexagon house. A pie is best eaten as triangles. Sometimes thinking in shapes is advisable or cause for pause. Temperature might reach extremes not seen in many years. A fierce wind might be building north of your location. Direct shake it up moments have a polymorphism power. Pieces of straight lines put together at certain angles, reoccurring in all kinds of material, make one wonder if it is possible to make a circle into a square. Inventions measure the exact distance from the center. Science seems like magic, but not religion, in unusual used bookshops near roadside attractions that will give the best value for your book. Every channel tells the future, non-energy warning of unpleasant air currents. There are colorful maps to help understand what might lie ahead and beyond, including outside of your zone and out to the ocean where we aren't supposed to care unless boating. Of course, being off-season makes it only that much easier to construct angles abstractly, draw conclusions without all the facts, speculate unthinkable scenarios, speak loudly and forthright, think safely and fiercely, think comfortably about a neighbor's creator, original or not. One more theory never hurt anybody.
Yeah.
I'm going to read one more, and then I'll be back at the end where I'm going to read with Bernadette a collaboration. So this is Untitled number 26. L wanted to know who Dash was. M sat next to B the night before. V is M's older man, and they've been an item since she was illegal. The letters of the host's name, full name, were used to write a poem. Some of the people we know have taken their middle names for their first. Remember not being able to put a name on a face? H saw words on people's foreheads. Sometimes people wear name tags. B told me she just finished the TPR correspondence that the other B gave her. Soon we will pick up M at the Double Happiness bus stop, but not the M from the first stanza. What if you were a Dash? What fun could you have? And if Dash should meet another desirable Dash, all the Dashes have all the Dashes have different POVs held together by the same dark matter that inhabits these words. Let X equal Y. Is everything linked, or is it up to the smallest unseen, never might be seen neutrino to piece this puzzle together? We know other curious phenomena exists beside the question of identity of certain characters that take place within the pages of published poetry. Some will never know the truth, even years after it was written. As one famous baseball personality used to say, "A-B, see you later." Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to introduce Bernadette, and then Zach's going to help rearrange the furniture. So two of Bernadette Mayer's most recent publications both do the intensive work of recording, recovering, and declaring different kinds of silenced speech. For her book, The Helens of Troy, New York, Mayer visited, talked to, and photographed every woman named Helen living in the city of Troy in upstate New York. This was a major intervention. In Asphodel, That Greeny Flower, William Carlos Williams writes, "All women are not Helen, but have Helen in their hearts." Williams suggests that the story of Helen of Troy is made coherent only because her abjection stands universally for the female poetic speaker. At least that's my reading of that poem. Mayer's rewriting of Helen radically rejects this narrative, just as she has radically rejected other narratives of female speech in long poems such as Midwinter Day and The Desires of Mothers to Please Others in Letters, celebrated as among the first major works to deal directly with the experience of motherhood. In all of her many other works, from 1968's Story to 1984's Utopia to 2008's Poetry State Forest to 1989 and recently re-released Sonnets and Beyond, Mayer takes us to speech that can and must come into the poem and keep opening it outward. In a conversation we had earlier today in this room, Mayer told me that the sonnet is a stupid form. Stupid not only because it suggests that a poem can come to a conclusion, but more important because it suggests that any sort of conclusion is possible in our thinking. It's a philosophical problem, she said. So it seems fitting that Sonnets was recently re-released by Tender Buttons Press. Bernadette Mayer is a poet, writer, and visual artist. She edited the journal 0 to 9 with Vito Acconci, and until 1983, United Artists books and magazines with Louis Warsh. She taught at the New School for Social Research, where she earned her degree in 1967, and during the 70s led a number of workshops at the Poetry Project at St. Mark's Church in New York. From 1980 to 1984, Mayer served as director of the Poetry Project, and her influence in the contemporary avant-garde is felt widely and deeply and passionately. Please help me welcome her back to the Kelly Writers House.
Maybe I'll just put it on the chair. No, no, it's just weirdly shaped. Hmm. I'm going to read what I learned today is there are traditional sonnets, like the ones written before, and then there are my sonnets, which are not traditional. But now I have a third kind of sonnet. So I'm going to read an old my sonnet, and then I'm going to read a new my sonnet. The old my sonnet is called The Phenomenon of Chaos. Love's not intent today. What did I see? A bank, a store, a pattern of leaves fall into the basketball court because rain followed the smoke of 11 states' fires. To exit from the universe, you could believe nothing is checked on, but we don't exactly exist, do we? Otherwise, how could we? Do you love me when the earth's sun sets on your song, on your tongue? This is ridiculous. The universe is no longer uniform. By this we mean the universe is not or ain't a standard of nothing. Love's turning no more. Now here's a new sonnet. I wrote these in honor of Hannah Weiner because she wrote this kind of poem. They're called the Skinny Sonnets. And I used those reporters' notebooks that are very thin and long to encourage me to be able to write this kind of. But there's a wrinkle here. These sonnets are all hypnagogic images, so they're not going to be understandable at all. Tuesday. Storis, we were here. Before you, one is one another. Who said towels on, doors closed, no apricot on it? Did Phil, she slapped her daughter then. I saw it, no, heard it then. Other lamp reader arced into room. I just dream, okay, bye. Uh, this is another one of those. It's called Dream. Period was when door entered dumb. What was I she? Revealed that was the play, the calendar of us, notes on the criminals by John he left. Them, then we were in a play. They did something to someone while we were somewhere to give up everything. This is the new edition of the sonnets. One of the, I'm going to read some of the Helen poems. One of the Helen said to me, well, actually, she wrote this in her poem, but I don't know if I'll read that one. It's not very often that people are interested in you because of your name. Isn't that great? This is one of my favorites. It's kind of sad too. Helen Crandall Whalen, Villanelle. Everybody died. I'm learning to control my temper. I took off. It was fun. I loved it. There were cameras in the store. I don't have to look. Everybody died. One Helen's enough. Trust me. I love reading books. I took off. It was fun. I loved it. People think I'm stupid. I went to Proctor's Theater. Everybody died. There's nothing more to say. My hair is braided like a family. I took off. It was fun. I loved it. If you did something wrong, they punished you. One Helen is enough. Trust me. I don't have to look. She was mean. She didn't like any of the Crandalls. One Helen is enough. Trust me. I had to clean other people's houses for $1 a day. My hair is braided like a family. If you did something wrong, they punished you. One Helen is enough. Trust me. I don't have to look. She was mean. She didn't like any of the Crandalls. One Helen is enough. Trust me. I had to clean other people's houses for $1 a day. My hair is braided like a family. I'm 66 and smart as a whip. They'd call me the orphan brat. I took off. It was fun. I loved it. When you're an orphan, you can do anything. I went to Proctor's Theater. I'm learning to control my temper. It's been rough. My favorite colors may be yellow. Everybody died. It was fun. I took off. I loved it. This is my favorite Helen poem. Helen Reese Sestina. Mom still lives in South Troy. Now everything is much more different. There aren't as many buses. There are no markets. There was a mural of Gulliver in the Troy Library. You don't get, oh, here it is. You don't get too many people interested in your name. Corbett is Helen Reese's maiden name. There's a lot of Greek revival architecture in Troy. Name Troy, like Ithaca and the other Troys, to honor the people in Greek democracies, a concept as liberal and different as a fancy private house is from a public library. Soon in downtown Troy, there'll be a co-op market. There was, but alas, it closed. That's not in the poem. For a long time in Troy, there was no market. If you lived somewhere else, would you have a different name? What are the chances you'd go to this library and be a Helen in a city in upstate New York named Troy? If you had your way, how would things be different? Would you prefer being the head honcho or one of the people? Politicians often brag about being a man of the people, but do you ever see them at the market? Maybe for that to happen, you'd have to be a Helen of a different Troy or a woman of a different name in a non-existent market in Michigan where there's a Troy with a post office, some people, and a library. Socialism's okay for Americans sometimes. For example, the library, the post office, the schools where people can learn about ancient Troy or all the Troys, even the ones without any markets, by the names of Price Chopper or Hannaford, names that might appear in our dreams, where a different landscape or map, as it were, leads to a different way of perceiving, like books in a library, which can lead you on a quest already inherent in your name to find the place where people, all people, freely and unworriedly go to a crowded market, whether it's in Syracuse, Utica, Rome, or Troy. There's something about Troy you can't help but think it's different. Even without a market, a movie theater, a library, you still will get people interested in your name. Hmm. 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 I'm going to read Carlton Fisk is My Ideal. He wears a beautiful necklace next to the beautiful skin of his neck, unlike the Worthington butcher, Bradford T. Fisk. Butchers always have a crush on me, who cannot even order veal except in whole legs of it. Oh, the legs of a catcher. Catchers squat in a posture that is, of course, denying orgasm. But Carlton Fisk, I could model a whole attitude to spring on him. And he is a leaper, like Walt Frazier, or better, the only white leaper, I forget his name, in the ABA's All-Star Game halftime slam dunk contest this year. I think about Carlton Fisk in his modest home in New Hampshire all the time. I love the sound of his name, denying orgasm. Carlton and I look out at the window at spring's first nor'easter. He carries a big hero across the porch of his home to me. He has no year-round Christmas tree like Clifford Ray, who handles the ball like a banana. We eat and watch the storm batter the buds, balking on the trees, and cover the green of the grass that my sister thinks is new grass. It's last year's grass still, and still there is no spring training as I write this. March 16th, 1976. The year of the blizzard that sealed our love up in a great mound of orgasmic earth. The pitcher's mound is the lightning mound. Pudge will see fastballs in the wind. His mescaline arm extends to the field. He wears his necklace. He catches the ball in his teeth. Balls fall with a neat thunk in the upholstery of the leather glove he puts on to caress me as told to in the off season. All of a sudden, he leaps from the couch. A real ball has come through the window and is heading for the penguins on his sweater one of whom has lost his balloon, which is floating up into the sky. Sorry. Oh, here's a really old sonnet. You'll like this one. It's called Sonnet. Name, address, date, I cannot remember. An eye for an eye, then and there my. This is your second chance to. History repeats itself, and a tooth for a tooth is a tooth. It looks like this. That was just a fooling around sonnet that I wrote before I ever wrote any other sonnets. This is called America, My Worst Poem. As for me, when I saw you, you were in a tale, thinking perhaps love is coming too in America, or perhaps, as what is belated in a tale may come true, the scene is just simply describing its use. You had no hope but the length of days, as in the sky, about which I already knew. This gentle information comes as a prescription. To notice a friend who is lettering a cloud which otherwise falls indifferently is no mark of distinction. This is the difference between the past and dreams. To dismiss an effigy which appears to be singing. I'm going to read you my really favorite early poems. Corn. Corn is a small, hard seed. Corn from Delft is good for elves. White corn, yellow, Indian. Is this kernel a kernel of corn? The corn they sought was sown by night. The Corn Islands are two small islands, Little Corn Island and Great Corn Island, on an interoceanic canal route. Any of several insects that bore in maize is a corn borer. Pope John. Noah spoke singly, sucking Calliope's throat, and Seachop sat in a sort of jeep, hoping for rain. Cornpone, said Aunt Nono. Pop is in a hodgepodge, Edgar Poe supposed the hen. Oh, poop deck, oh, epic poem. Joe, John, and Joel Oppenheimer went home. And here's my absolute favorite of my, I'm sorry to be doing that. It's called Yellow Orange. My dig was a sage ear. The mirror focuses on warm fog, wise marrow ram, queer fig, curious razor smear in a coffee mist. The war was a sexic sore for merry rims. As far as I come, the sow and the ram wager wish arrows. Various sim is a toxic rage. My soul, waxed samurai, swore on a swarm rock arrow. Come with a quick wag of beer, carry sex, ask ears frame, courser rim, game in a jock axe searing, and curry the same maize, in exotic, says the worm, in cocks, in jam. That's an example of what I was talking about today. When you write, you take notes or you write down words that seem interesting to you because they sound great or they're kind of, you get obsessed with them or whatever. And that's what I was doing at that time. So I'm going to read I don't know what I'm going to read. Death is a cambric fabric. I've had my portion of prison, ridden with person, desire's poison. Desire's person is an unruled idiot. I will wash the glasses now. The person's poison is a position. You don't have to cook to eat the food. Pay the rent. It's not a portion of the person. Can't pay a portion of the rent. You're a person in prison. Plenty of poisons in the forms of potions available to all to allay deep emotions. That is, no agility to pay. The person who put you in the prison position of your city, your house in it, your own poison landlord, poison government, poison company, country prison on this poison earth, no portion of which is for each person. The fun is over, it's getting dark. I'm sorry, in the city and in the park. To crack the times we are opposed in mind, unwilling and disinclined. Too much sex entwines your hair. I don't know if the dawn is here, dear. I want some grown-up shoes like my female children have. I want the dawn to go back to the darker, femaler blue. It was just past sunset, so that another isolated night can ensue. We never do anything bad, do we? Hi, ensuing logic. Please leave a message after the sound of its intention. If you press the star button when you get the machine, you don't have to ever have to listen to the message again. This is called the Ballad of Theodore. I saw my father, and then he was there, all dressed in a suit. He asked for a beer. I hadn't seen him alive since 1957. Dead, I often see him once in a while. He was all too calm. He was like a businessman. I got him a moose head from the grocery next door. He walked into our school, daring and dead. I haven't seen you in centuries. How good to see you, I said. He put on the head of a power animal. This time it was a tall giraffe. My father then wore a longer cloak, and I was shaking hands with his hoof. No kidding. It was quite a good time we had. He doffed the clothing of his absence, and no dead man is scared of being dead, and most of the living are full of this, his form of innocence. We conversed. It wasn't startling. I was 12 when he died. His new disguises were a method to let particular animals, as grown-ups, confide. He forswore the walls of the school, and that's where I lost him. No trick of time bemoaned his anxious fate. I'm only fooling. We drove cars backwards, ate acacia leaves, then made witty conversation, wore bathing suits, and swam together again. I lost him in the dream's sudden, regular twist, like he was an aristocratic woman going from supper to a game of whist, instead of what he really was, an electrician who loved Frankenstein. I saw my father, Theodore, and then he was there, a vegetarian, ruminant, silent giraffe, full of his new and current perfect past, all dressed in a suit as if quite dead, but only at first. Then, as a mammal animal, he asked me for a beer. He said, "Here death is not emotional." I'm going to read this poem and then we'll do the collaboration. Hail and farewell, Rosemary. I'm drinking the last of the wine in a toast to you. The light has that empty, leafless look, as if someone has died. Thank you. Are you gonna sit too? Great. Oh.
He's going to get a second stand,
Okay.
so it'll only be a second.
The second stand will only take a second.
Yeah.
You have to stand?
No. Okay, second.
Just kidding.
Oh, Mike's.
We're going to read a collaboration called the Thrift Shop Blues. And I'd just like to announce that I got this vest in a thrift shop. Do you start?
You want to wait for the stand? It'll only be in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're waiting for the stand. Phil's sitting, waiting for the stand.
Here it comes.
Where the fuck is the stand?
Can I get another? Zach, can you just toss me another mic?
He said, toss it. Toss it.
Hmm.
The wire.
Something fell. Hope that wasn't mine. Oh. Oh no.
And a wire.
Hmm.
That wasn't good.
Hmm.
That built for that.
Hmm.
Mice don't grow on trees, you know.
They don't?
Can you bring up mic too? Good thing it wasn't on.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Good to go. Check, check, check.
Hmm.
Thank you. Okay. Thrift. Oh, right. It's the Thrift Shop Blues. I hope not to speak of myself in the third person while shopping in a secondhand store, trying to buy clothes or any other old treasures.
I've got the thrift shop blues. There's three of us in the thrift shop thinking, why is that third person here? Is he a thrifty elf or a ne'er-do-well planning to steal secondhand clothes? Ye little oldie thrift shoppy.
Used coats, used shirts, and clean. Let's roam around the store and see what we can glean. The aisles are wide and the lights are bright, even if all is not as it seems.
Let's see if what we can glean gleams or seems to gleam in almost the new year, according to this capitalist calendar. It's time to buy new lava lamps.
If only they had coats the color of the sky. That's what we could buy for New Year's at the thrift store as we celebrate the blue-gray sky.
There's nothing to celebrate but thrift shops, or if we could see them, the northern lights. There could be